So we're going to start with some introductions. So my name is Janet. I use she, her pronouns. I'm one of the associate directors in multicultural affairs, and I'm the program director for international at Columbia. And Adriano and I are the folks who are planning all of our super fun international student orientation programs during the week of NSOP. And then during the school year, my office also works to support international students in CCNCs, specifically with like adjustment to like student life. So you'll hear a lot more of kind of like the work that my office does. But we want to welcome you to Columbia and also welcome you to the session. And I'll let Adriano introduce himself.
Hi everyone, I'm Adriano. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a CS and math major in Columbia College. I'm from Peru, but I moved to the UK when I was 15, and I am the International Community Events Coordinator for NSOP this year.
Great, awesome. And we also have two of our international orientation leaders on the call today. So I'll let them introduce themselves as well. Marie, do you want to start?
Hi everyone, I'm Marie. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a rising senior in the college studying applied mathematics on the pre-health track. I'm Palestinian and I grew up in the UAE.
Well, hey everyone. My name is Delfina, and I'm an international student from Uruguay, and I'm currently a rising sophomore studying financial economics.
Right, awesome. So again, welcome to the session. This really is just like we wanted a chance to welcome you as you're still preparing for your journey to Columbia. So we have some advice. We've kind of crowdsourced it from some of our orientation leaders. So just general advice for as you are planning, now that you're in the planning stage, we're about like 6 weeks out before your arrival to campus. So just some tips. So before getting to campus, I think one thing is to utilize the mail and package pre-delivery service through Columbia Housing. You pretty much, it allows you to send packages in advance between August 1st and August 15th, and then also learn your Columbia mailing address. And anything that you send between those dates will be waiting for you in your room once you move in. Especially great if you are traveling from far away and you're limited to like 20 kgs of luggage. I don't know if Adriana, Marie, or Delphina, if any of you have utilized this service.
I personally did. The nice thing about Columbia is that you can use it for every year. So I used it my freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and I think I've accumulated enough things now that I don't need it for my senior year.
Yeah, definitely recommend. I think especially if you're planning on wanting to have like bedding and stuff your first day, just because those things can be a little bit bulkier. So definitely would recommend. The other advice is to please make sure that you have organized your documents. So by documents, we mean things like passports, I-20s, important documentation that you're going to need. And have them both digitally and also printed, just in case you aren't able to access it for whatever reason. And just in general, like if you learn how to manage any kind of documentation and paperwork, and think about how you're going to plan your travel to campus. So especially if you are, I think a lot of folks are going to be arriving to one of the three New York metro airports, but just thinking about how to get from the airport to campus. We will be sending out a kind of general transportation guide later in the summer that has some like tips and advice, specifically getting from the airports to campus. But it might be a good idea to just think through kind of like what you might need or how best to prepare to get to campus. And then find a taste of home in New York City. So plan to explore beyond the Columbia bubble. And I think by Columbia bubble, folks typically mean like Morningside campus. I think once you get here and you start classes, it's really easy to get in a cycle of like dining hall, residence hall, Butler Library, class, repeat. And then all of a sudden it's December and you haven't left this neighborhood. So, and then also for folks who miss food from home, I think the dining halls here are pretty good. I've heard from students that they're pretty good, but I think after a couple of months, everyone starts to like want to eat food that they're maybe remind them of home. Luckily, New York City is very diverse. You can find food from almost everywhere, but a lot of times it does mean that you have to travel away from Columbia to find it. So being willing to travel. And then NSOP is just the start to making friends and connections. So recommending to join clubs and say yes to new experiences. I think NSOP can be a very intense experience just because you're all here, there's so many people, you're also like jet lagged and you're thinking about so many other things. But don't worry, like you will have so many ways to like make connections and make friends even after the 7 days of NSOP is over. And there are 300 plus different student organizations at Columbia. So whatever interest you might have, you're more than likely to find that there's already a group of folks who also share that same interest. And if it doesn't, you can start your own group. Let's see. I think one question we get a lot from especially new students is, I need to find a job like immediately. I need to start my career. I need to get an internship like day 0 of me getting to campus. I think one piece of advice that kind of current students have said is don't feel rushed to find jobs and internships your first semester. You can definitely connect with the Center for Career Exploration for like tips and tricks for how to secure internships or like on-campus jobs. But also take time to adjust to like your academics first and also just like being a Columbia student. It can be a big adjustment especially if it's different, very different than your high school experience. And then I don't know if folks want to chime in, but if you aren't from a country that has winter, bring cold weather, cold clothing and shoes. I don't know if anyone, Marie, Delphi, or Adriana want to chime in on that.
I personally grew up in a desert. I had never heard anything, like I never knew what a sweater was. Like I knew what a sweater was, but I never actually understood like, oh, why do people wear sweaters until I came here and I had the biggest culture shock of my life in September when the weather started dipping below 20 degrees Celsius and we started hitting 15. So just get something to kind of like make it easier between that little transition period, and then you can get more things once you come and settle in and like more stores start bringing out like the sweaters and the winter gear. That would be my 2 cents.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely gets cold in New York. It also gets quite windy, so yeah, make sure you bring a decent jacket.
All right, so I think we've selected just a very small handful of the different offices and resources that are available to international students. Most of the things that you can maybe start to learn more about as you're still in like the preparation phase before NSOP. So the first one is my office, so Multicultural Affairs. We're within undergraduate student life, which serves CCNC's undergraduate students. So International at Columbia, like I said before, our office is really centered on like supporting international student life at Columbia. So we'll have a ton of different programs, excursions, things to help you like with your transition to Columbia, but also just learning more about like life as an international Columbia student. We are separate from the International Students and Scholars Office because we don't we are not the place you go to get your travel signatures or visas. We have a couple of different programs that are focused on specifically first-year international students. So the first one is the Global Ambassador Program, which is a year-long intercultural like friendship program that pairs together international and domestic students in CCNCs across all class years. And they meet once a week to have dialogues, and they go on a lot of like excursions into the city together. It's a great way to like meet folks maybe that you wouldn't normally meet. There's also the International Student Advisory Board, which the membership is made up of CC and C's international students of different class years, and they work more so on like advocating for the needs and increasing the visibility and voice of international students at Columbia. And then if you're looking for more of like a one-to-one like mentorship program, there's the Columbia Mentorship Initiative. And there is a international family tree as a part of that initiative where you can connect with a continuing international student for kind of peer mentorship. We spoke a little bit before about like wanting to find jobs, wanting to find internships. The Center for Career Exploration is going to be your go-to for all of the information that you need to know. I think it's important to know, especially if you are here on a temporary visa. So if you're here on a temporary visa, there are some restrictions for being able to find employment, especially off-campus employment or employment like over the summers or like internships. So the website for that center, and I will put all of the links to these offices like in the chat. It's a good idea to just hop on and take a look and look at all the resources that they offer. They also offer information on like the job fairs that they will run all semester long, different types of like job training or skills trainings. And then that's also where Handshake, which is the like job posting platform that Columbia uses, is. Again, this is not a checklist of things that you need to complete before you arrive on campus in August. This is just a general, like, if you have questions, if you're thinking about kind of like these things, these are the places you can go to get some information. Center for Student Advising is also a great resource, especially if you have questions about registration, how many credits that you need to take. If you're thinking about doing a study abroad as an international student, those are all great questions that you can ask to an advisor within CSA. And then International Student and Scholars Office, you should be getting tons and tons of emails from them already. They are the office that is going to have the most up-to-date information on any kind of regulatory or federal changes to like policies regarding immigration. Also, they're the best resource if you are experiencing any kind of issues with your visa. So if you're experiencing delays getting appointments, in your home country, if you have questions about applying for visas or what you need paperwork wise, they're going to be the best resource. And they are very responsive. So highly recommend that the moment you know that you might have an issue or you have a question, I highly recommend that you schedule an appointment with an ISSO advisor. And yeah, they will also continue to send updates and emails throughout the summer as well as we kind of get closer to the start of the school year.
So we're now going to Q&A. Please submit your questions in the chat. We'll start off with some questions for our OLs. For the first question we have, what were the main challenges as a first year that you had to navigate at Columbia, and how did you deal with them?
I mean, honestly, I would say that, well, it's like the most common thing, but I would say that homesickness, especially like the first semester for me was kind of challenging because of that. I mean, I grew up like my entire life in Uruguay, so like it was the first time that I was actually away from home, which was like a big change. So yeah, I would say that like to face this, like what helped me was trying to find like community there, like friends, but also like professors that I could talk to and supported me, like, and I could talk to like when I had an issue, you know? So that really helped, like to feel more at home.
I agree with everything Delphina said. Actually, for me, something else that I also did was tap into the international network at Columbia. So a lot of my friends were also internationals my freshman year. Actually, funnily enough, like sometimes you think you know everyone from like the same, like I grew up in Dubai, so I thought I knew everyone who came from Dubai, but then on my first day at Columbia, I actually, like, you're meeting people. And then I met like another person who went to the high school right across the street from mine. And now we're like really close friends. So sometimes you find these little interactions and just kind of like takes you back to where you're from and like gives you that little boost of energy that you need.
And for the next question, we have, what are some clubs or organizations that you're part of on campus? And what are the Columbia resources that you are utilizing most?
So for me, I'm involved with a lot of things on campus. NSOP, ISOP. I'm actually a lifers. This is my third year doing it. I'm also part of the Global Recruitment Committee, which is a subdivision of the admissions office, which works with like attracting international students, sending letters to people who got accepted. It's a very nice environment. I'm also part of CU Doctors Without Borders. Um, and Turoth is the Arab Student Association. I'm a G-Body member, so I like going. We have like small events. And honestly, I feel like there's so many other clubs I'm also involved with, like that I'm not necessarily an active member of, but I just go to. And I'd encourage everybody to just, give something a shot. You never know if you'll like it. And sometimes, you have like a free Wednesday, so why not go to a G-Body meeting?
Yeah, well, I'm not as involved, honestly. Like, so far, like now I'm part of FANSUB and I'm also like in the scholars program. But also like what you were saying about like taking a shot, like, because you don't know if you're gonna like something. I also recommend that, specifically because my second semester I decided to join a sorority, which is something that I never thought before doing it. And honestly, I have liked it so far. And as for like my second year, I hope to be able to, join more clubs related to like what I want to study. So that's kind of my idea.
Great. Yeah, I agree. Greek life is great at Columbia. Then, in your opinions, what are the easiest way to make friends and where do you usually meet them?
I can start with that. And my answer is gonna sound a little bit cheesy, but I feel like you can make friends anywhere in Colombia, because people are really like so friendly and open-minded that, I mean, at least for me, like I'm still like I keep contact with friends that I met during NSOP, as well as like, I don't know, a random class that I took during my spring semester. So I really feel like that if you can like you put yourself out there and you try to make friends, you can really meet people like at events or classes or really anywhere.
I agree. I'd say like honestly, it's not just something that you can do your freshman year or your sophomore year. Like throughout every semester at Columbia, I feel like I've made more and more friends. And honestly, it's just a matter of like, oh, you can text somebody like, oh, let's grab a meal. That's I feel the easiest way to get to know somebody at Columbia. It can just be something at a dining hall, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And even then you just get to meet someone and get to know them. And we have a lot of like smaller discussion sections and seminars. And so in that way you can also meet other people your year, maybe people the year above you, and like well hopefully the next year people the year below you as well. So it makes like kind of like a nice community. So I just say be confident, put yourself out there. Worst case is like just somebody you know.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both of you. And then, what was your freshman year like compared to what you thought it would be?
For me, I remember I had never been to the US before coming to college. And so in my head, the American college experience was everything I saw in the movies and TV shows. Then when I came, I was like, oh my God, it's just like living, you know? You go to class, you go home, you go to the dining hall, you know? So I'd say there's a lot of things that, you know, I thought I was really scared about. I thought I made it such a big deal. But when I just came in, I realized, oh, I'm just living life, but away from home.
Yeah, no, I totally know what you mean. Like for me it was kind of like a similar thing because I mean it's totally what you're saying. Like you see like in movies like they represent college in such a way that is I mean some things are similar but there's other stuff that they don't get at all. And for me, honestly, like the experience was quite nice. Like I did get when I got to Colombia, I was super nervous about meeting everyone, but it ended up being like totally fine and people were so friendly that it was really easy to make friends. Like even during the first few weeks. So I thought it was really nice.
Great. And what were your favorite moments from ENSOP?
Well, honestly, for me, I think it was like touring like the campus itself with my OLs and like my other ENSO peers. Mainly because well, I'm pretty sure that it's the case for many international students as well. But when I got there, like for the move-in day, like that was my first time stepping a foot in Colombia. So like when I toured the school, like that's when it really hit me that I got there and like I was gonna be able to experience that. So that's probably my favorite experience.
For me, I'd actually say it was International Move-In Day. I feel like I met most of my friends that day, like at least my friends that were my year. Um, I don't know, it just felt so surreal, like Filipino said, like being on campus. I was like, oh my God, I remember being welcomed by the OLs. That's actually why I wanted to be an OL. So it's just so surreal, and you always keep on thinking, like I'm about to graduate, but every day I think back to that 1 week. It's so cute.
And then what is one tip you would give incoming students?
I feel like if I had to give you a tip, I mean, I don't know if it's like a tip as such, but it would be like, I mean, it's totally okay and valid to feel kind of lost or nervous at first, but you should try to give it some time, you know? And by some time, I don't mean like, okay, the first few weeks, maybe like the entire first semester, because like it's such a different environment that it might take you some time to adapt to it, but that's totally fine and will eventually be able to do it.
I agree. I'd also say live in the moment. Try to savor everything as it happens. Don't try to run forward because then you'll be looking back and you'll be like, oh my God, I didn't get to enjoy that part of the semester, that week. So yeah.
Great. I would say get your mailing address right. I had to order 3 debit cards, and it will save you a lot of time.
Yeah, I don't think folks have their housing placements yet, right, for first years. Um, but if you scroll up in the chat and click on the package, the mail-in package pre-delivery link, and scroll down, there is like what the format for mailing addresses at Columbia. Once you know what building you'll be living in, you can search the building code to plug into that address. I think something folks probably should know is that for mail, like during the academic year, the buildings don't have like individual mail offices or mailboxes. Mail gets sent to like a student mail center that you then go and pick up your mail at. So um, just it's important to know kind of like what that format is. So I would definitely check that out, especially once you get your housing placement. And also, I think the one thing that came up is that knowing the difference between your building's like physical address versus your mailing address, because if you're ordering, for example, like a pizza, you probably don't want it to get sent to the student mail center. You probably want to know like the physical location of your building. So we have a couple of questions in the chat. So one is, what is something that you brought with you your first year that you realized wasn't necessary to bring from home?
I can go first. For me, it was all my summer clothes. I thought I had so much time to wear like t-shirts, shorts, but it gets cold really quickly, especially in the fall. And something also about the weather in New York is that it's very fickle. So one day it'll be very warm and sunny, the next day it'll be really windy. So I got really sick my freshman year because I wasn't used to that.
Yeah, I think it was the same thing for me. Like, I think I brought way too many summer clothes that I didn't even have the time to use. And also something that I realized that I did not have was like a lot of rainy clothes because it does rain a lot. I think it did rain more during the second semester, but just in case, bring an umbrella.
Yeah, I would say I didn't really have anything that I found unnecessary. but I would definitely say that I forgot stuff like an umbrella or stuff to make my room more homey.
Another question, I don't know if any of you know this, but if it's possible to get a housing assignment early. I don't think so. I think they typically are released like all at once for the first years. But you can email housing@columbia.edu for any questions regarding like housing assignments. But I'm pretty sure you need to have the building code as a part of your address. And they won't, I don't know if they're able to deliver it with just your uni. But yeah, I would reach out to housing for those questions. Thanks, Victoria. In the chat, if you have a accommodation request in housing due to a disability or medical condition, you can register with the Office of Disability Services, and the link is in the chat. Any recommendations for a US phone plan? So we can't give like a very specific, like, please use this company for cell phones or like banking, but we will send out later in August a cell phone and banking guide that is all of the cell phone and banking providers within walking distance of Columbia's campus, with a rundown of kind of like documents that you might need, or like locations and stuff like that, that I think will be helpful. You can also ask around to your other Columbia friends in terms of what might be the best option for you. I think there's in the cell phone and banking guide, there'll be banks listed that have different things that you'll need to bring in order to open an account with them. So you can kind of look through and see if you can find a bank that if they do need a proof of address. If not, I think you can also email housing to receive like a proof of residency. Any hotels that accept under 21 check-ins, that I do not know. Let me get back to you on that one. And then, are there taxis available to Columbia students to take them to locations nearby campus? I mean, there's New York City taxis that are available everywhere, but they are paid, like you have to pay for them. And then there's Uber and Lyft. In terms of like free options around campus, there are shuttle buses that are run by the university to take you to like the different parts of campus. So if you have, let's say you have class at like the business school or the medical campus, there are shuttle buses that will take you from Morningside to those campuses. I think also up to the stadium. That are free. And then in the evenings, there is like a shuttle service that is free within like a certain radius of campus that will either pick you up and drop you off at like certain locations, or they'll drop you off like door to door depending on time of day. If you look at, I think it's an app that you can download once you get to campus called Columbia Evening Shuttle. And I don't know if any of Marie, Adriano, or Delphine, if any of you have used the evening shuttle.
I have used it and it works fine. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you need to wait a little bit, but it works. Yeah.
I've used it too, and I used it actually. There's a Trader Joe's, which is a supermarket on 125th Street, and I've actually gotten a Via from that Trader Joe's back to my dorm. So,
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
great hack.
yes.
But yeah, so I think those are two options for kind of like closer to campus. But I think there's also lots of like public transportation options as well. So I think we're served by the one train primarily, and then there's also lots of like municipal like MTA buses that do have a cost, but it's like the same cost per ride to get around other parts of New York City. Yes, definitely recommend taking advantage of the evening shuttle and the shuttle buses, because those are great like free options, especially like if you're like studying and it's like later at night. It's definitely a little bit safer to take the shuttle in the evening versus like walking. Download the LionSave app. There's so many apps. But there's a couple that are really good to have as a Columbia student. I think there's the official like Columbia app, there's the Lion Safe app, and then there's also the Evening Shuttle app specifically too. I don't know if Marie, Adriano, Delphina, if you have any other recommendations for like apps or things to bookmark or download for Columbia.
I don't think I have anything off of the top of my head, but I'm a huge foodie, so I'd say if other people here are foodies, Belly, it's more of so you can find new restaurants around the city. So that it's like nice. I didn't really know any restaurants, so I found things and you can find things from home. Like I found a lot of like Arab restaurants. I actually went to one yesterday. So if anyone like is also a foodie, Belly, it's like Beli. It's amazing.
I think like I guess like I think most first years you're gonna be on the Columbia dining plan. So I think the dining website, so dining.columbia.edu is a good one to have bookmarked because it'll give you like real time what food locations are open and hours. And sometimes they'll have like menus and stuff up there too, but that's usually good to check too. Especially if you um, are planning on being here over break periods. So if you're planning on staying on campus during Thanksgiving break, winter break, spring break, because you are able to like stay in your like residence hall over those breaks, and there will be like food options open, but I don't think all of them are open during the break period, so it'll be a good way to check like what locations are actually open. And Marie, you are the Belly expert. I have no idea if Belly is public or not.
Yeah, it's just on the Play stores. If you just download it and you can like add people, add your friends. That's like one of the first things we do when you first meet somebody, or maybe it's just me and my friend group because we love food.
I feel like that's a very much a shared thing, especially in the international community, is food and where to get the best food in New York. Alrighty. So, like I said, this will be available as a recording on the Columbia Countdown to Columbia webpage under summer webinars. So if you weren't able to get all of the links or anything like that, you're welcome to check that out later. If you want to stay connected with International at Columbia, please feel free to follow us on Instagram at Columbia OMA. And then you can also sign up for our mailing list, which is updates and event notifications, information throughout your time at Columbia. So like including, but also past to NSOP. You can scan the QR code or enter the URL to sign up for the mailing list. And then if you have any questions, after this webinar is over and you're like, actually, I have 6 more burning questions that are international related, you're always welcome to email international@columbia.edu and we will get back to you. If you have questions about like general NSOP, please email the NSOP email. But if they're international specific, feel free to email us. Yeah, we will hang out for a couple more minutes, but thank you all so much for joining us. And we are so excited for you to be on campus with us in T-minus 6 weeks.